What is up guys, my name is Mark and today we're covering r/relationship advice, which are true relatable stories about relationships obviously. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too. And a huge thank you to the members of our channel, you're truly appreciated. And we're just dipping our toes in the water with this subreddit, so let me know if you'd like it or not. And from there we will decide if we do more. Thank you once again for being here, the time out your day, much love to you. And let's get started. Our first story comes from I Love Outer Space 77. Husband wants to be or is polyamorous, and I'm not, don't want to be. My husband, 29 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for roughly 9 years, married for 7, and recently had our first and likely only child, born at the end of 2019. We both only wanted to have one. After many long discussions, I've agreed to leave my job and stay at home with our child until they start school. I was very reluctant to leave my job, as it was significantly better than the jobs I worked during my 11 years in the minimum wage service industry. It paid way better. I actually had benefits and employee bonuses, and paid sick leave, which is unheard of in most, if not all, minimum wage jobs, and was unsure if I could find and get another job like it after our little one started school. Financially speaking, we could afford for me to stay home, and eventually I did agree that it would be better for our child if I stayed home with him, since we both grew up with very busy parents, meaning they were mostly unintentionally absent, and didn't want that for the little one. A few weeks after I've resigned and there's no going back, my husband tells me that he's polyamorous, and wants to know if I would be okay with having another partner in our relationship, a girlfriend for both of us in a sense. And if I would be okay with that potential girlfriend being a friend of mine. I'm not at all uncomfortable with polyamory in a general sense, but I myself am not polyamorous and ultimately not comfortable with having a romantic or intimate relationship whatsoever with more than one person. I'm also still dealing with postpartum hormones and adjusting to hormonal birth control, so I've had to struggle to keep my moods and emotions in check. I did tell him about this, how I was uncomfortable with it, and he didn't like it, so he asked me just to think about it, and has continued to talk to my friend daily, almost constantly. Honestly, I just don't like the idea of it. It hurts to think about him being romantic and intimate with another woman. Hell, to be honest, it hurts me that he even wants another partner at all, especially since the partner he wants is a friend of mine. It makes me feel and think I'm not enough, and I hate that because that's probably not even the case. I don't want to agree to something that I'm not okay with and also hurts me. But I don't want to say no either, because I can't fight the feeling that saying no will lead into cheating on me. I really don't want to leave him either, because I do love him, and if it comes down to it, and I end up wanting or needing to leave, I'm in the frustrating position of needing to find a job to support not only myself, but a child as well. A job like the one I just left. I'm hurt and frustrated, I don't know what to do, and I don't have anyone I'm comfortable talking to about this, and I need help. I need advice, because every time he brings it up, and I'm honest with him, he asked me to take some more time and consider it. Updates. Okay, wow, I'm completely blown away because I seriously did not expect my post to get this much attention. I've read all the comments, done some thinking and decided to: number 1, make my feelings about this abundantly clear as possible to him. 2, start looking at getting my job back or finding a new job. 3, return to regular therapy visits. Had therapy previously for unrelated reasons. And 4, talk to not just the friend mentioned, but all my female friends to make sure they know everything that's going on. I want to try and salvage my marriage, but not without a support system and my own financial security. Seriously guys, thank you so much for all the advice and input, because I was definitely overwhelmed and couldn't think about it clearly. What the hell, man? In my eyes, OP seems like it's already cheating on you. What the hell? There's 2 comments that stood out below to me, so I'm going to read those out as well. One from Captain Sea Dog that says, does your friend know you're not comfortable with their relationship? Does she even know he's priming her for a poly relationship, or essentially to be his mistress given you don't want a poly relationship? Does she not care what she's doing to you? Regards your husband, he sounds very abusive. He's ensured you're at your most vulnerable and then suggested a drastic change in your relationship and continue pursuing someone outside your relationship when you said no to the change in terms. He is already cheating on you. When you said no to poly and he continued, he is cheating already. Speak to your support network, find out your options, speak to a lawyer and take steps to protect yourself. Then once lockdown is over, protect yourself and your child and leave him. Don't allow him to wear down your self-worth, so you just accept whatever behaviour he throws at you. Followed up with traffic spiral. Sorry, but this is bullshit. He gets you pregnant, gets you to quit, and then throws the "I want to bang your friend" bomb at you. Hell no. Divorce and get child support to tide you over while you look for a new job. I mean, what is your opinion on this story? It's got to already be cheating, surely. This is crazy. Pre-warning, our next story involves a little sex, so it gets a little graphic here and there. I'll throw that out there for you right now. Our next story is from Throwaway Mortified. I have a strict no hooking up with co-workers rule. Well, I broke it and I think things are about to go downhill because he farted in me. Yes, in me. Oh dear. Throwaway for obvious reasons that are soon to come into light. Lol. Sorry for formatting. I'm typing on mobile. Warning, the end gets a little graphic. A little backstory. I, 23 female, work in a bar. It's one of the biggest in my city and has pretty big staff. Despite the size, we're all pretty close. However, there's a core group of about 10 of us that are best friends. Myself, my 2 roommates and 7 guys. The guys are like our brothers. It makes me cringe to think about any of them in a sexual way. All except for one. We can call him T. T is a good looking kid. He's incredibly smart, kind and so thoughtful. He's overall just such a great guy. Out of all of us, T is the newest addition to the staff. He's only been with us for about 8 months. When T started, he had a girlfriend, and at the time he did, I was also in a relationship. We were both experiencing rough patches in said relationships and became really close, as we always confided and sought advice from one another about what we were going through. I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend about 4 months ago, and I've been enjoying being single. I bartended my way through college, and if you've never worked in a bar, let me explain something to you. Everyone hooks up with one another on the staff. It's a party environment at and after our shifts, and once the alcohol starts flowing, it's really easy to get involved with people you're spending a ton of time with. However, I have a strict rule of not hooking up with co-workers. I've seen how quickly it can go sideways, and I've just never wanted to shit where I eat. Given the title, I think you know where this story is headed. A few nights ago we had a game night, T was in attendance. We all got pretty drunk and decided it would be a good idea to play hide and seek. Well, T and I ended up hiding together in a little forest area behind the house. This was the first time any of us had seen each other in about 2 months, due to self-quarantining. So T and I started catching up as we were hiding. I asked him how everything was going with his relationship and if things had gotten better between him and his girlfriend. He told me that they broke up about a month ago. I told him how sorry I was, and if it meant anything, I thought the world of him, and I know he'll find someone who thinks that. T then took my face between his hands and kissed me. It was really unexpected, but passionate and sweet kiss, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't like it. We ended up staying in our hiding spot for another half an hour, just talking and kissing. He gave me butterflies, something I hadn't felt in a really long time. We ended up going back to the house, and he ended up leaving as it was past midnight, and he had to work in the morning, his weekday corporate job. Before he left though, he asked if I would come over and hang out at his place the following day, while he did work from home, and I agreed. A little after lunch the next day, I went over to his place and it felt like we'd been together for years. Being with and around him just came so naturally. He made me laugh, we could talk about anything and everything, and I just genuinely enjoyed being around him. He asked me to stay for dinner and cook me this delicious salmon dish. The day had been amazing, we ended up having sex, and he asked me to stay the night with him. I did. Throughout the night we talked, had sex, talked more, laughed, everything. It was amazing. I went home the following morning feeling like the sun was shining out of my ass. I was so happy. Fast forward to last night, T asked me if he could come over and cook me dinner. Of course, I agreed. Once more, he made me a delicious meal. We had wine, we played card games, it was a great night. I invited him to stay the night and he said yes. But we went to bed and we started hooking up. Things quickly got hot and heavy and we started having sex. About 5 minutes into it, I heard a pfft. I was pretty tipsy off the wine and didn't know if I heard it correctly or not, so I ignored it and didn't say anything. 2 minutes later, I hear another little pfft, but louder, and then another one. I quickly think to myself, is that me? Am I queefing? I knew I was tipsy, but like there is no way I was drunk enough to not know whether the sound was coming out of my body or not. Pfft, there it was again! Louder and more aggressive this time. It was definitely a fart. T was farting. I was mortified. Before I could kindly ask him to remove himself from inside me, he started to finish. I'm coming, he told me, and as soon as he began to explode inside me, the loudest, juiciest fart I've ever heard in my life exploded out of his arsehole. I immediately slid out from underneath him and threw a t-shirt and panties on. I mumbled something about how I had to go to the bathroom and quickly left the room. I quietly but quickly ran into the bathroom and just sat down on the floor. Something you should know about me, I hate farting. That and poop talk are gross to me. I've always hated bathroom humour. Listen, I get it, we all do it, and as much as I try to logically think it through, I can't help but just be absolutely disgusted by it. So you can imagine my horror as someone dumped their load into me while simultaneously letting out the biggest butt trumpet tune I have ever heard. I was mortified. Alas, I couldn't hide in the bathroom forever, and I didn't want him to know I was freaking out, thus making him feel bad, so I collected myself and walked back into my room. I decided I was just going to pretend nothing happened, fall asleep and just sort through what had occurred and my feelings about it in the morning. As I opened the door to my room, I was greeted with another pfft. He was laying on my bed, still fucking farting. I guess the expression on my face gave away my disgust because he giggled and sheepishly said, "Haha, sorry, I'm really gassy." If it were anyone else, I would have told him to get the fuck out of my house, right then and there. But T was my friend. I put myself in the situation when I decided to sleep with a co-worker / friend, so I quite literally laid on the bed I had made for myself. I mumbled something about how it was fine, that I had a headache and just wanted to go to sleep. The morning he tried to fool around before we had to leave for work, but I pretended to be hungover and too nauseous to do anything. He kissed me goodbye, told me to sleep good for him, cringe, and text him later. Well, it's later and I still haven't texted him, and I don't know what to do. I know it's childish that I'm grossed out by the farting, but I can't help it. Any sexual attraction I had to him is gone, vanished, Amelia Earhart style. I don't want to hurt his feelings because he is my friend and he's such a great guy, but what do? I don't want to ghost him, he deserves better than that, but I also don't want to have to break it down for him that his loose butthole caused me to just be absolutely disgusted by him. I truly have no idea what to do. Edit, for all you roasting me saying to grow up over farting, it's not like the act itself bothered me so much. Like I said, everyone does it. Yeah, it grosses me out, but that doesn't mean if someone does it in a normal setting I can't get over it and move on. It was the fact that he was inside me and did it so many times, and then did it again afterwards rather than excusing himself to the restroom, or just another fucking room for Christ's sake. Also, I apologised if the title was misleading. Well, yes, he did not back his anus into my hoo-ha and play a symphony directly into me. It was close enough to it to sure feel like his farts went inside me. Wow. When I read that title, I was like, this has got to be physically impossible, right? And the first comment on this rounds up my thoughts immediately. The title makes it sound like he physically pumped gas into you. This quarantine got people crazy like. Now reading this story, I was thinking, oh no, I don't know if our community is going to like this or not, you know, with the stories being a little graphic and personal and things. But I don't know, I quite enjoy it as well. I quite enjoy the insight in people's lives, the different things that go on. Let me know your thoughts on the story. If it's too much or too little, that's the only way I'm going to know if you enjoy them or not. Oh yeah, I had to pause for like 5 minutes when he goes like, tee-hee, apologies. Whatever he said. Our next story comes from Throwaway Seaweed 22. Adopted parents stole me from my bio dad. So I'm a 22 female living independently. Before I get into it, I just want to give a bit of backstory. I was adopted as a baby by my adoptive parents and raised believing that my bio dad abandoned me when he found out my bio mum was pregnant and that my bio mum gave me up because she was too young for a baby. I had a hard childhood as my parents never wanted to discuss my adoption and would get very uncomfortable if I brought it up, and sometimes very angry and start shouting if I talked about finding out more about my biological family, and would always say things like, "Aren't we enough? They abandoned you and we raised you." My adoptive dad also struggled with anger issues and would yell at me a lot, so we have a strained relationship, but he tries to stay close. My adoptive mum is always calling me and wanting to stay in my life as well. They're nice, but can be angry and guilt trip me a lot into doing what they want. Now when I was 18, I decided I want to find out more about my biological family, and I searched for them using some documents I found, plus the help of my aunt. I did find my biological dad, which confused me as they said that he abandoned me and didn't want anything to do with me. I told my parents and they screamed at me and scared me so much and told me that my bio mum put whatever name she could think of on my birth certificate and that he did abandon me and that I was horrible for doing this behind their backs and that they should be enough. They made me promise to never reach out and that he wasn't my bio dad. I did what they said and didn't contact him as I believed them. Well, when I was 20, I decided to look him up again and found his Facebook and saw that he posted birthday posts on my birthday wishing his daughter a happy birthday and a few other posts about birth parents. This felt like enough information, plus his pictures, that it was him, and I reached out. He was overjoyed and very excited and emotional to talk. After texting back and forth with him, skirting questions about the adoption, we decided to meet in person as he didn't live that far away. When he met up, he was very emotional and we talked for hours. He eventually told me that he wasn't told he had a child and found out that he did after adoption. He petitioned for a paternity test and it was positive, but they didn't give him custody as I was 13 months old at this point. He was heartbroken and tried to set up visitation, but my adoptive parents denied him, and that was that. I felt so betrayed and disgusted with my adoptive parents and felt like they kept me from my bio dad. I don't know how to move past this. I also found out who my bio mum is, but she passed away a few years ago due to suicide. My bio dad said that she was forced into the adoption by her parents and that she would have loved to meet me. I've been so upset and heartbroken ever since finding all this out. I decided to confront my parents with this information, and they at first denied it and told me that he just wanted money. He never asked, and all he wants is a relationship, but eventually my mum broke and said that they raised me first, and that they wanted a baby for so long after dealing with infertility, and that they didn't want to lose me. They also aren't supportive of this relationship with my bio dad. I'm unsure how to move forward. I've met my bio dad's wife and their 2 kids, 13 male and 10 male, who have embraced me into their family and are both lovely people. My adoptive parents are constantly calling and leaving their rude messages or guilting me and making me feel bad for doing this. I don't know what to do. I can't get over all these feelings of being taken and kidnapped and denied a relationship with my bio dad. My extended adoptive family reached out to me to call me names and tell me what a horrible person I am as well. And the comment below this, which is clearly the best advice, is Torakun. You should speak to a counsellor who specialises in adoption. There are many feelings that, unless you've been adopted or dealt with it a lot, that you just can't understand. Your adoptive parents are really shitty for trying to deny you a relationship with your dad. He clearly wanted you to be in his life, and they thwarted you. They're also really shitty for lying to you for decades just because they wanted a child. You have every right to seek your birth parents out. They should fully support you in having both adoptive and biological relationships. Which I think is spot on, right? You can't deny someone to search out their biological parents and find out the truth themselves. It's a massive part of their lives that they need. It's a puzzle piece that needs to go back into the puzzle to find out whether they love them or not. There's a lot of questions that I imagine someone in that position really needs to ask. What do you guys think of this? Have you ever got an adoptive parents? How do you feel about it? Did you ever seek out your biological parents, and how was it? I mean, I imagine it can go both ways, you know. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories, and if you did, you've got to let me know, because I'm unsure how this one will go on our channel, and it will be great to know from your perspective. And if you do enjoy my content, you know what to do. Click that like, subscribe, and that notification bell too. There is another video on your screen, which if you click will tell YouTube you like the content and will promote us even more. Thank you for being here. It is truly appreciated. The time out your day. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.